Ahoy and welcome aboard Blue Moon. I'm Donna. I'm here with my husband Jim. This week we're working on batteries. We have some old batteries we're trying to revive and some new lithium batteries. So let's go take a look and see what Jim's up to. How's it going down there, honey?
Oh, don't buy a boat. Don't buy a boat.
Oh, but I love living on a boat.
All right. Anything for you, honey. Today we're disassembling our 14-year-old Rolls batteries. They're still working, but they're not working quite as well. The terminals are corroded. This is a big battery. You know, I usually have the 8D batteries that are, 150 pounds. This is over 250, I think. These are 2-volt cells. This is all lead acid, by the way. There's 6 of these that sit in a box, and then they're bolted together. And we really have, I guess I've neglected them, let's be honest.
Not that much. I thought we did pretty well with them.
They have been working fine,
yeah.
But now is the time. I've got to take these out, clean them all up, check the concentration of the acid in them.
Okay.
And then we'll see if it's worth replacing them. These aren't cheap at all. Although for what they are, they're remarkable. These are 14 years old, something like that.
Around 14, yeah. Did you tell them about the hydrocaps?
I did not.
I thought that was
These
really
are really
neat.
kind of neat. These are hydrocaps. They're expensive too. But what they do is when you're charging this, hydrogen will bubble off the plates, and eventually you have to put water in them. But what these do is these have silver in them, and it will take the hydrogen boiling out of here and combine it with oxygen in the air, converts back to water, and then drops back into the battery. It's really, really neat technology. Simple, not cheap, but if you don't have to go in here and start farting around with it and adding stuff. This is the box they go in here. So I'll take this all apart, and the box is messy, and then here's our secondary. This one is not as good as the other one. There's one bad cell in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out which cells are which. We'll maybe just make up one old bad battery and get one new one, because like I said, these are expensive. And this is our new dumb fume. This little battery is 300 amp battery, and this thing is a 375 amp. So it's a remarkable difference.
And it's lithium. This
is a lithium, which is a whole nother animal. I know lead acid backwards and forwards, but the lithium, it's certainly not as sturdy. If you took a lightning strike, I'm sure you'd blow up the electronics. There's electronics in here, and then I'm not sure the thing would work, because you have to be careful. All sorts of things happening. We could do a whole nother show on that. I'm not sure I'm even competent to do it. So I'm pulling these guys. We'll clean it all up. Do the same for here eventually, although Donna has friends coming for some reason. I wish you'd stop having friends. And I don't know if these are going to go back in today, because I have to do all sorts of magic to them. And then we'll do what's called equalizing. So we'll try to, which will take the sulfur. These are lead sulfur acid batteries, and what happens is the sulfate plates out on the lead and lead oxide plates in here, and so what happens is they don't you don't have as much surface area, and they slowly die. It's a very good thing to equalize this, which just means you crank up the voltage. Sometimes it's quite a violent reaction, and you try to redissolve the sulfur on there. As long as it hasn't crystallized on, then you're kind of shot. There's 40 pounds in each one of these, so it probably takes a lot of power. I don't have a lot of experience equalizing these, because they've just performed fine.
And
well.
We haven't used our battery charger, which sometimes they have an automatic equalizing, which we don't particularly like, because it does it when you don't need it.
And it takes the voltage quite high.
Right.
I think you could fry your electronics sometimes. It takes it over 15 volts, some of them.
Right, and these get recharged from our solar, so it's a much gentler recharge.
And also, we never pull these down more than 50%.
Right, we're very careful about that.
The lithium, you can pull them down more. This is like some of the stuff that was growing on the plates. The lithium, you can take them down quite a bit. I think the dumb fume says you can take it down from 100% charge to 0, and you can do that 4,000 times. And the battery is still in good shape, which is remarkable. Because if you did that here a couple hundred times, you'd probably ruin the battery.
Right.
But it's a different animal. It's different chemistry. These have no circuitry in them. This is dinosaur stuff, which I love. You can take a lightning strike. These things will survive.
Yeah.
The lithium, maybe not so much.
Right.
So, we'll show you the emergency room visit if I screw up.
Come on, honey. No urgent care
I already
today,
got
please.
some acid on my
lovely.
forearm. I don't know why I'm not wearing my shirt.
Why aren't you wearing your
Well,
shirt?
then it would dissolve the shirt away.
Oh.
But it's going, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull some more of these out.
Okay. Be careful.
Oh. So what we're doing is we're cleaning up. This is one of the buses that goes between the ABC and DEF cells, and this was really quite corroded. And you can see where. Can you see inside there?
I think so.
The way these things are made, it's like a piece of copper tubing that's crimped on here, and then flattened and soldered. It looks like you're soldered.
If
you're British. Well, that's kind of the way it's.
That is how it's spelled.
Spelt.
So maybe
Maybe
Americans say it wrong.
But
anyway.
so it's corroded away this piece here, and this can pull. What's our starter? 5 kilowatts. So it can pull
a lot.
not quite 1,000 amps, but
a lot.
But figure 1,000 amps. And this is only a 1/0 cable connector. So I might think I'll replace this. I don't know. This certainly isn't great, yet there's still a lot of meat on it here. And what you don't want is the corrosion to be in here, because this is wire. It's thousands of or hundreds of little copper wires that have that are tinned with tin. Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It's odd because people say, "Oh, I'm going to tin that," but they're actually putting solder on
Yes.
it. That's how you tin things, or at least you do today. So I don't know. So what we're going to do, the batteries go plus minus, then plus minus plus like that. So what I'll do is
put on your safety goggles.
Well, and this is where it really gets a mess. And this is all pretty safe. The only problem is you got to wear safety glasses when you got your face in this. I could very easily drop this in the box. You could imagine this breaking off and the battery acid going up into your face, and I can envision all sorts of happy things like that.
Of course.
Here.
A little more.
Yikes.
Yikes.
All right. And that one actually goes this way. Don't connect them up the wrong way. Very bad things will happen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all these in. I won't connect up the one final lead, probably this negative. I won't connect that up until they're all connected, because even though everything looks fine, it's not. There's a tremendous amount of potential energy stored here. If you were to somehow get a conductor across here, you'd have a horrendous spark would come off it, even at 2 volts. It can be quite dangerous. So I'll kind of string these together, and then I'll drop the final ones in, because I'm going to put Molykote silicon on it. This is not silicon caulk. No. This is silicon goop. So here is the battery all put back together, all nice and clean. I put water. I don't know if you can see inside there. Put distilled water in. Always make sure you use distilled water. We had a friend who said, "Oh, I never use distilled water," and his batteries turned into geysers when the plates shorted out. This is the old one. You can see it's got some issues. This one's all nice and clean, all gooped back together. What I'll do is I'll put a full charge on this, We actually have some sun today. Charge it up as much as possible. Then I'll disconnect the whole system and then use this guy to equalize and see if we can get some capacity back in this, because the capacity is going down. Starts the engine fine. You know, it's probably good for years and years, but it's really nice to know.
So we've been trying to run our new lithium battery, the dumb fuel, weird name for it, using our current setup, the charge controllers that go to our solar panels on the roof of our boat, and with the different chargers and things. And it's been causing some issues. We've had a few surges when we're running some of the pumps and things. So we've just gone out and bought a number of different items so that we can upgrade our controllers and the systems that we have here. Let me show you what Jim has been working on.
So for the new solar, we obviously need a design for the new panels. So here I have a this is the kind of design phase of it, what you want it to do and what it's going to eventually look like, and then all sorts of other bits and pieces, what the wiring will eventually look like, which gets a little confusing. But I finalized the panels here. This is going to be the each solar panel will have a display of how much current, the breakers for it, and then this guy is the display for the house, how much, what our charge voltage is, how much power is coming in, and this will be the load for the house. We'll cut out these templates and we're going to make these new panels. I used to make them out of aluminum, but I'm going to make it out of this, which is a phenolic sheet. It's called Garlite, and you can get this at I think got this at McMaster's car. It's fairly inexpensive, and it's a great material. It doesn't conduct electricity, and it's easy to work, which is really nice. The aluminum, you can see this guy's aluminum where the screws are, and it's fine, but it makes a mess. You find little aluminum bits everywhere when you work it, drill it and cut it. So here, these are the finalized templates for the display, and there are a lot of ways to do this, but the simplest way is I just cut these out. This is just a folder material from you know, you guys get at Staples or whatever, but it's a fairly nice stable material. Anyways, cut these out, and then I place them carefully and tape them, and then you can mark through. Typically you take an awl and you punch that so you'd have a little hole there, and then you drill. Like this is for number 6 screws, so I'm going to put an 1/8 inch hole there. These are 1 inch and 1/8 holes for the display. So these are all the bits and pieces. These are the displays that go in, which are quite expensive, but they're so pretty. They work real well.
Really easy to see even on a bright sunny day, which is nice.
And then this one's quite a bit more complicated. This one has the displays, has these breakers in it, and then some other bits and pieces. And finally, these things have to be powered with 12 volts. So it has to have a switch on it. So that'll go here. So now we cut out the Garlite. And you can see I've covered it with tape so I don't scratch the surface. And also the face here has got tape on it. So that's the first one. That's this guy. I hope it's that one.
It is now.
It is now. I hope so. So then we'll, once this is all the corners are all dressed and this edge is east, we'll probably tape this. I typically tape it on, and then bonk this with a scratch awl or punch so I know where to drill the holes. And then I drill the holes very carefully. We actually have a drill press under here somewhere.
Yeah,
it's under here, right?
It's still quite a work in progress. Jim, what are you up to?
Nothing. I'm not up to anything,
Did
honey.
you get the big beast out?
I got the beast
Lordy,
out.
You did.
Okay. So, you remember this guy. This is going to be the primary. This is the display panel. And I've gone ahead and cut it and drilled it out. And then we'll soon be populating it with these bad boys, which are wonderful displays. Like so. And I always put them on an angle like this. It drives my wife crazy.
Yes, it does.
No, so anyways, this will be voltage. That'll be charge coming in from the solar panels, and this will be the load from the house, how much power we're using. And we live by this. We neurotically look at this all the time, especially if it's a bad charging day.
We call it the amp dance.
The amp dance, yes. Oh, turn off the thing. Turn that thing on.
We've got a lot of power. Let's use it.
Right. Use the power. I can't store anymore. In fact, I'll show you how we, when we get to that point, I just channel all of it into the water heater. It's not very efficient, but it does heat the water, at least on a bright sunny day. And then these things are powered, so there's actually a power switch on it. You have to turn them on and off. You've seen the other one up top side. This basically is about the same thing. It's very simple.
Nice.
But this is the easy one. This one is a lot more complicated. That's this one. This one has circuit breakers in it. Oops, sorry. Well, let me show you. It's got these guys are those, and then these are that, and then bunches of these gauges. And there's two sets here. This really gets
busy.
Well, I gotta tell you, the problem is, and Sue at the store at Cove had to order us our stuff. She's so nice.
She is.
I can get it here tomorrow. She's really nice when she says that.
Oh, yeah.
So that goes there eventually. And okay. And then this guy goes here. And then there's two sets. There's this, two breakers, this guy, which is a shunt, and I'll explain about how that, and then the power supply for this. There's one of these per solar panel. We do things a little differently here. And the reason we do that is so we don't overtax the electronics we have. And the other reason we do it is if something fails, if one of the charge controller fails, we can actually double them up. I've got ones big enough so we can actually do that.
I thought also if you have them on different charge controllers, if one panel
fails
or gets shadowed.
Or just shadowed. Because if you know how the solar works, you figure, here's your big panel. If I cover 25% of it, I'll get 25% less power. No. It doesn't work that way. You're going to basically wipe out the whole panel, even if you get just like a line from one of your shrouds across it. And the panels up here, they have a pretty good view of the sky, but there is a mast right there. Mm-hmm. There's always something, unless it's a super overcast day, there's always some sort of some sort of shadow. There's always something. There's a bird sitting on it. The other thing, and now there's two of these. This one is for the two large panels we have on top. Then I'm going to make another panel just like it, and that will be for our auxiliary panels. And those are 130 watts each, and we take them out when we're going to be staying someplace for a long time. Typically, I'll put them on the bow. They hang out. They're never shaded because there's nothing else around. And those can be our real workhorse. Especially if we're not really dragging down a lot of power. And if that's the case, that's when we make the hot water with the big panels.
Right.
Seems like a pain in the butt, but you try taking a cold shower every night. Even when it's warm out, taking a cold shower is a pain in the butt. What we'll do is I tape this on here. So make sure this can't move on the panel. Then I punch holes through with this all the way around, so I know where to drill the holes, and then I very carefully try to remember which hole to drill where. That's why it says 5/8, 1/8, inch and a half, that's 7/16, and I've got all the drills over here all ready and set to go. And then this is the 1/8" that goes in. That's what these are. So one thing I recommend whenever you do something like this is I always make a test to make sure the drills are the right size. And in particular, these circuit breakers, they're called air packs. There's no online measurement from the company that tells you where the screws go for this. And it's not something you want to screw up. Where do I put the screws? So you have to make your own, basically, template like this, so you can figure out where that goes. Ta-dum. Yeah. And even that's off a little bit, but it can be off a little bit, but not a lot. And then we buy a new one. Here's a perfect example. This says the hole. It's right on the package. Says the hole is 7/16. Well, that's a 7/16 hole, and it doesn't fit. And that's a 32nd above, and that doesn't fit. It's a full 16th bigger. It's 15/32 that I actually had to drill the hole so the thing would fit in there.
Yikes.
So I make sure that I've got all the drill bits for everything I'm doing, so you don't have to fart around and whatnot, grabbing things, and you forget what you're doing. You've lost your concentration. Now you're going to screw up. So it always pays to make something like this. In fact, when I'm done here, I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put this in my electrical box in case I ever have to buy another breaker because I broke this one. No, I'm just kidding. These are very sturdy. I've used these for decades. They're really wonderful.
Blue C.
They're AC or DC. They're they don't care. They're something centric. What could you say? I don't know. So anyways, let me show you how I do this. Very simple.
So this is your guard light.
That's my template.
And it has the template on it. Right.
And in fact, because it's not perfectly cut out, I fitted it all sorts of different ways, and then fitted front. Was this the front? Is that the back? And then I put an arrow on the up, so I know that's arrow up. This guard light has got a little bit of a bow to it, like this. It's been sitting in the dock box for years. And what you want to do is put the bow this way. You want this facing out, because when it gets fastened, the fasteners will pull it in, and then it will be flat. The fasteners are on the corners. If I did it the other way, you'd have the bowed part would never look right.
Flat.
It would never sit flat. Yeah. You might be able to straighten it out, but it's really not worth it.
Oh, I see. Put some pinholes.
Well, no, I already did. That's what this one is.
Oh, that was your test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So very simply, and I think I'll get the other hammer. This really isn't right. But this is a mounting hole. All right. So now I'll put the drill in that eventually. That's one of the displays.
And by doing that, it helps guide the drill bit.
Well, and I'm going to take this paper template off because I have to use it twice because I'm making two of these. So very carefully, especially these, they're called air pat breakers. There isn't a lot of wiggle room with these. You've got to get all these aligned pretty closely, and this isn't so bad. The big electric box that's topside, that was a pain in the butt, because there's how many breakers in that big panel?
A lot.
And you don't want to screw that up. They're fairly easy to do, though. These things are 3/4 inches by 2 inches, so you can't screw that up because some of the measurements are really wonky. And this is interesting. This is the shunt, and I'll explain what the shunt is for later, but the measurements of this new one do not match what's on the site.
Oh.
This is 2 inches. They've changed it. It used to be 2.08 inches, and they changed that. And this is now, I can't remember what their measurement was. It's now 3/4. So now it's the same metric as this.
Oh.
And I bet they did that. I bet a lot of people complained.
Yeah, because they didn't fit next to each other.
Yeah, how come it's off by a 1/16 of an inch?
Right.
So, all right. So I did that one, that one.
That one.
These are the shunts, and I'm not sure quite where they're going to go. So I'm not going to do anything quite yet. But then I'll do these, and then come back and I'll show you how I drill them. And you know, this isn't like the Mona Lisa. People aren't going to stare at it for hours.
You will. If it's off,
Oh,
you're
no.
going to
If it's off by 1/8 of an inch, every time I go by it, even if I'm not looking at it, it's going to be looking at me, and I'm going to go,
He does.
because that's
my
how
honey.
I roll, honey.
I know.
All right. So this is the drill we're using for the little holes. And I don't know if you don't like this, you're not interested, you can move on, but
I can also fast forward if it goes on and on.
and my voice can go. I'm sorry, how does it go? So, oh my God, I'm already tired. So here we go.
And why do you have the piece of wood under there?
Because you'll drill through.
Right.
This, you really shouldn't have this on there. You could, but it's not underworld stuff. These are all different types of drills too. This is just a spiral drill. This is called a brad point.
Oh yes, look at the point.
And that's the Forester. Foster? F-O-R-S-T-E-R.
Oh,
Forester? Something like
I
that.
always thought it was a Foster.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
And this is kind of a problem because I don't know what we did to this, but it's real dull.
Uh-oh.
And so I can't grind all the way through it.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay.
Don't do that. The nice thing about this is they won't rip up the surface. They leave a really nice, clean hole. If you were to use this spiral bit, it would rip the surface all up.
So this is the one with the point in it, the brad point.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah. They all do different things. The other, and this one can chew things up a little bit. The other one, this one, you can see how it actually cuts the circle out and leaves a beautiful, perfect round. Brings us to the big holes we have to put in. Now we're going to use something called a hole saw. What I'm doing right here is I'm just making some helper holes. Because the hole saw is a bit of a blunt instrument. It's not meant for fine carpentry or anything like that. And I will show you why, because it's this beastly thing.
So you've cut the middle hole already, so you have
cut a pilot hole.
A pilot hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look right. I cut the pilot hole because it's already got a thing, a guide. This is a 1/4-inch bit. So what I will do is something like this. And this one, it's nice if it lines up in the hole in the thing.
Because it will go
in
all
the base. Because that thing will.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do. Let me make sure I got this right. This is the upper surface. This is the back. Because it goes like that. And these are the two round meters that go in. Like I said, kind of a brute force instrument.
That startled me.
What startled me too. I forgot what, it's got a lot of torque, so it'll...
So once you cut the hole out,
right, and you have to push the hole out.
Push the piece out.
It's not like a donut where you don't have the center of the hole. That's these guys to dump.
Yay.
So that guy, this guy,
Two of those. in
two of
each row.
these,
And then the switch.
the switch is here, that goes there.
Dear, are you trying to hide from me in there?
No, I would never do that.
No.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little. Look at all those pretty lines.
Yeah, no, they're not pretty, honey. This isn't a pretty thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Can find beauty anywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll let you get back to hiding in the closet. Not that way. Yes, dear. On that note, looks like you're having fun, honey.
Better be a rum in this.
There's a few rooms.
So we're starting to wire up these panels. It
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah, no, it's not supposed to be pretty.
I think it's pretty.
Okay, I know. It looks like this, and then it looks like that with this. So
Right.
this is the two controllers, the two large upper panel ones.
Right.
And I just gotta put it together. I love these. They're OLED displays.
Yeah.
They look like that, but these have little covers on them.
Yeah. How come that's not changing?
Because we have the most stable power in the entire marina, honey.
Yeah, it's called not being plugged in.
Yeah, well, that technically that is stable.
That's stable.
And this will get nice labels on it. My honey will make nice labels that say,
Yeah.
"Don't push this." Launch, not lunch button.
Yes, dear. The launch button. And you have those shunts in the back. What do they do?
Well, this is a breaker for the solar panel. Technically doesn't really need a breaker,
Right.
but it should have a fuse in it. It's an electrical circuit.
Right.
And then this one is the 12 volt from the charge controller.
Right.
And what you want to do while you're sitting here is you want to see how much power is coming. If you've got a fault, if there's something wrong, there'll be 4 of these for the 4 separate panels, and then there's a single one that just is the total of all of them. But this will show you right away, oh my God, what's wrong? Well, the giant bird pooped on the panel and wiped out half its capacity.
Right.
So get up there and clean it right now.
Or we won't be able to run our computers.
Yes, yeah. Well, all sorts of fun things can happen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I love the red, but I'm thinking we're gonna, once it's all wired up, it's actually not that big a deal to take it apart and then paint it.
Yeah, I guess the red against the warm honey teak look is a little
It's okay.
clash, but
it
it's
works
not
all
bad.
right on the other boat for the main control panel.
Right, right. But you still didn't describe these guys.
Well, those are the shunts.
That's what I wanted to hear about.
Surprisingly difficult to measure the amount of current running through a DC circuit, and you do that by putting this shunt in. These are rated at 100 amps, and they'll drop 50 millivolts at 100 amps, which is what that thing's saying there.
Okay.
But
yeah.
what happens is you pass the current from the solar panel through here, and then you take 2 leads off here, and there's a minuscule, tiny amount of resistance between here and here, and you interpolate that, or this thing interpolates that as the voltage.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Because if you want that much current, then you have to have this much voltage drop, and it's very small. It's 50 millivolts. It's like this big.
Bitty.
These are only 1/4-inch studs, and they're rated 100 amps, which I don't know.
That's a lot of power.
Well, they're gold plated, but
Yeah.
you know, so what? It's still 100 amps trying
Yeah.
to run through there. Also, this is not smooth. It's got a like a rough surface to it, and whenever I want a connector, I want 2 really nice smooth surfaces.
Sure.
But this is Blue Sea, and they really that's what all these breakers
Blue
these
Sea or Blue
guys
Sky?
are. This is Blue Sea.
It is Blue Sea.
The other one is Blue Sky.
That's why I'm confused.
I know, and I sound like a babbling idiot.
No.
Well, great for you. Hurrah. So anyways, so I got to connect it up. I need 2 little wires from here to come up and then go into these 2 slots.
Okay. Almost there.
Almost. Oh, yeah, almost there. I got 2 more of these and hook up all. Did you show them the controllers are all in?
Yes.
I think we did that, didn't we?
No. These are the new controllers down here, and then we'll use the old ones for the smaller panels. And Jim moved the radio here and the binocular holder there.
And the space between the binocular holder and the plenum is big enough for your water mug.
Oh, that'll be the water mug. That's good planning. Someday we have to paint this wall. So, as you can see, Jim's made some really good progress here. I think he's almost ready for some testing. Ooh, that looks pretty, love.
It's getting there. It's powering correctly. I looked at this, I went, something's wrong. The display isn't right. And I went, oh, gee, Jim, you're kind of an idiot. So anyways.
He's been working way too hard on this.
So these are our 4 controllers, and this is just a nice display. This will display how much solar is coming in and then how much we're using. So we balance and play with those all the time.
Perfect.
Wait, I've got an error. I don't know why I keep this. It's like 20 years old.
Yeah, it's a
But so this
backup.
will eventually go kerplunk like that. I won't make that sound.
No, okay.
It
Well,
may
that
make
looks
that
good
sound.
though. Very nice.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah, good job.
But I still got a ways to go yet.
Okay. So we are ready for our final test of the new system. Jim has set up our extra panels here on the bow for now. We usually have them attached to the pulpit here, but since it's at a dock and we're just doing a quick test, we don't have them rigged in place. But we have the wires, they run in through the window at the helmsman's seat, and we only use these when we're going to anchor someplace for any length of time. So let's go inside and have the moment of truth. Flip the switches. We'll keep a fire extinguisher handy just in case.
Well, here we are, the moment of truth.
Do you have the fire extinguisher?
We're kidding, of course. You really have to work at it to have to start a fire with this stuff. This is all 12 volts.
Right.
There's no 110 volts. You're not going to get electrocuted. You still have to be careful. If you do this with 2 12-volt wires, you can have molten bits in your eyes. That's about the worst thing
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
All right.
So this is the master panel. This is the new one. And what this is telling us is the voltage on, right now we're connected to lithium, is about 13 and a half. This is the charge. We should put some labels on here.
Yeah, we will.
Here. Oh, how about these old ones?
Okay, for the moment.
Solar charge. This is the house amps. That's how much power we're drawing. And this is the charge voltage, which can be a little bit different than the one on the battery and the one on the house. And then we have a panel for the 260 watt panels that are up on the flybridge, and they get pretty good sun. There's a breaker that goes from the solar panels, that's the PV, photovoltaic, that goes from the solar panels to the charge controllers down here. And then the second breaker is the charge controllers putting power into the battery, typically. Right. So if we turn these on.
No sparks, yay.
Not yet. Wait for it. Wait for it. You know what? It's not going to come on because my voltage is too low. Oh, I know. High? Sorry. No, I'm sorry. There's no voltage because I didn't turn them on.
There we go.
There we go.
And that change there corresponds to this middle one here.
These are summed up. So you don't have to add these up in your mind. I'm getting 5 amps from this and 2 amps from that. You just have to look here and it'll sum them up for you.
Right.
And then, so these are the 2 big ones. These are our main panels that are permanently mounted all the time. These guys are the smaller panels that are on the foredeck. And we use those as our auxiliary or supplemental. And they're actually putting out as much as the big panels.
Huh.
Because there's shadows on it. We've got a sailboat next to us. It's shadowing us right now.
True.
Where these guys are out in the open. And actually, if we went out and actually cleaned them, they put out more. Yeah, but this is just a test.
Right.
And you can see we're pulling down 20 amps. That's respectable. You can drive, you charge your lithium, drive our big beastly computers, and then a water maker to boot. You could drive it all from this.
Right. Let me turn on a light or two.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll do it.
Okay, turn on the light. There we go. So now you can see the house amps are starting to go up here.
So that's how much power we're actually drawing. So this is the 3 lights in the galley right now.
Right.
Ah.
Cool, my love.
But, so, like we said, rethinking your life choices. This is what we've been doing. It ends up being a little bit
complicated.
Well, it's a bit of a nightmare, and you've got lots of wires going everywhere. The nice thing about this is you have very exquisite control over all your power.
And you know what's coming and what's going.
You know what's coming, you know what's going, and you see a problem right away. We've been on people's sailboats, and I don't even offer to help people anymore because they have no clue what they're on. They figure, plug the thing in, it should just work. And it doesn't. And why is my battery dead? And they have no clue what they're doing, and it's up to Jim to fix it. Let me show you over here real quick. What I did with the big solar panels on top is I put this switch in. These breakers here are now over here. And what this does is this takes the solar panels out of the circuit, and then if you put them, water heater both down, if you put them both down, it'll channel the panels in series. And you can see where it says 67 volts. That's the power of the panel directly that I can put into the water heater. Now, it's not connected right now, but you can actually heat the water with the power of the solar panels. Now, it's not very efficient because the voltages are wrong. And if anybody's interested in this, I can explain it ad nauseum. But this is kind of nice in that if your battery's already all the way
topped up,
and you're just wasting the power, you just go click, click, and then dump it into the water heater.
There's nothing better than a hot shower.
A hot shower is really nice. Even when it's warm, it's nice to have a hot shower. So, and if this was, I forget, what does it usually pull? A couple amps.
Right.
It's about half what it takes like 4 or 5 hours sometimes to charge, to heat the water.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, it's not really for mortals. I have to take the water heater apart a little bit. And if I was real serious about this, I'd have a 12 volt or some other voltage element in it, but it doesn't. It's got the 120 volt, which doesn't match up with this. Basically, it goes to 70 volts. So it's about half. So you have to take that into account. Plus, the solar panels may not put out enough to do it too, because it pulls a lot of what's 750 watts at 12 volts is 50 amps or something. It's big, a lot of power.
Right.
60 amps, and these things are doing down to 11.
Well, you turned off the
I turned them off. All right. This gets complicated. So let's go back. Turn this off, and then we're channeling the power into the charge collectors, which are then converting it to the right power and the right voltage and putting it in the battery. I should mention these things are our charge controllers, and we're still farting around with them. I've got to remount them, but
so those are the two new ones, the big ones.
They're basically DC to DC power supplies. They'll take in 1 voltage, and in fact, that's what this is. This is the voltage that it will accept, up to 100 volts.
Okay.
And then the 30 is how many amps it'll put out at a nominal 12 volts. So what that means is, for 100 volts, the panels up on top right now are 35 volt panels. So I can put 2 of those on one of these.
Yeah.
And these are Victon. They're very nice. They're simple, and they work quite well. We've played with them for years now, and we put them all on the other boat. The other nice thing about these is they will not cook your batteries.
Right.
there's intelligence in here. A lot of times, like the old battery chargers you'd get for your car, people would leave them on there and it would cook the car because it didn't realize it was putting too much current into the thing.
Into the battery.
Now the lithium should kind of figure out what it's doing and not accept the charge. I think that's what it was doing before. But the lead acid has no circuitry in it. It doesn't know nothing. You can just keep pouring power into it till you boil all the electrolyte out. These will get up to a certain voltage, and then they'll either shut off or they go through 3 different phases. You can see, I don't know if you can see on there.
There's the yellow blinking.
The
that
bottom one
blue.
has bulk.
Bulk absorption and then float. Bulk is just dumping stuff in. Acceptance is just checking it. I think it's high, and then float. It's just floating along. That's when
not
it's
putting a
fully
lot
charged.
in. Yeah,
you float.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. There is one thing I forgot to mention. When you do a lot of work like this, what I do, and this is 12 volts, you're not going to get electrocuted or anything. If you forget to tighten one of the leads, what'll often happen is it'll get warm. You'll feel it. So what I go through after this thing's driving the chargers for a while, I go through and I feel everything just to make sure. This stuff, there's no real power here, but this, oh, and if you're working with electricity, you're doing this, don't ever do this and then this, because the power goes through your chest. Always make sure you've got your rubber boots on and you're doing this. At any rate.
So Jim has put everything back together. We have our clock and barometer, and all the panel work is hung properly. And I think it looks pretty good. We may paint these someday just to make it, I don't know, the red with the wood isn't doing it for us, but for now, this all works great. Thank you for watching. Bye.